Hello, hello, and welcome into the show tonight. So, we're not going to spend too much time on, salutations because we got so much to cover. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get straight to it because time's a ticking, honey. So, our guest is known as a trans rights activist, and she is known for her amazing interruption of the 2019 CNN Equality Town Hall program. So please give a warm welcome to our guest of the hour, the amazing and gorgeous Coach Blossom C. Brown.
Hello, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yay! Okay.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, love. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. I didn't even put a stitch of makeup on, and I never do that.
You can't even tell. Beautiful, flawless skin. Come on.
Thank you. So this week has been an interesting week, hasn't it?
Ooh, yes. I am still resting and recuperating, it feels like. It was very historic. Very historic.
Yes, very historic. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a little light, and then we're going to work our way to the meat and potatoes of the whole thing.
All right, let's go.
So for many of you that may not know, Blossom was born and raised in Mississippi. You're from Mississippi, so you almost my hometown girl, kinda. You close enough. So what was your upbringing like in Mississippi?
Yeah, I had a very interesting upbringing. I'm the oldest of four. My parents divorced when I was 8. I think I was more of the rebellious kid versus my siblings, which was just really crazy. I would always play with my sister's dolls, and I just really tapped more into my femininity when I was like earlier on in life as a child. And living in Mississippi was it was very challenging, especially when I came into my transition around the age of 20. Because there were no medical facilities where I could get like hormones and things of that nature. So I had to do like sex work, and I had to do things in order to make my transition complete. And so along the way, I finally were able to get on hormones and things of that nature. But I just knew ultimately Mississippi wasn't for me. I had a lot of happenings going on in Mississippi, but Mississippi will always be my hometown. I think it's really growing now. I think LGBTQ rights are really expanding now. And I think we really have to give kudos to the trans activists, trans and non-binary activists that are on the ground in Mississippi. I love them dearly. That is my hometown. I am not ashamed of being from Mississippi. I'm always grateful. And yeah, that's just, I guess that's just pretty much my life of Mississippi in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And I had no idea that you were the youngest. For some reason, I thought you were
I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of 4. Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Oh, you are the oldest. Okay, I thought.
Yeah.
I was right then. Oh my goodness, because you have such a lovely family.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So during your college years, you have shared in the past that you encountered transphobia as you were qualifying for nursing school upon earning your bachelor's degree. What was going on during that time frame, and what were the microaggressions that you were encountering?
Ooh, yeah. So I started off at a community college, and then I went to a 4-year university. So for like 2 years. So 2 years community college, 2 years at the university. So the discrimination kind of started within community college. I had just actually transitioned roughly my sophomore year of college, coming to my full self, where like I started dressing up and coming to work as myself every day. Because what was happening was I was still at my mom's house, but I was not out to her. So I would like literally leave her house, dress in the car, and then by the time I would come home, I would dress down. And so when I finally wanted to step into my when I finally wanted to step into my truth, that's when my sophomore year I became Blossom, and I started coming every day to school like I was. Now, it wasn't until I got into the university level where I tried to apply to the nursing school. That would have been my sixth time, my sixth attempt. I'm
It's,
sorry, five at the first one, and then one at this one.
oh, they were
But
different schools.
huh?
They were different schools.
Yeah, I went to two different schools. So
Oh, okay, got it.
I started trying. I started trying for nursing school in the community college, and then I tried once at the university level. But what ended up happening at the university level was because I actually ran out of prerequisites or whatever. I had to change my major to public health, and I ended up falling in love with it. And I actually stayed in it, and I actually graduated with a bachelor's of science in public health, where I was the first Black trans woman to graduate from that university, openly Black trans woman to graduate from that university. I ended up on Ellen, IMK. I started work with the Human Rights Campaign, which I still love to this day. And yeah, those experiences really helped me change my life and helped me move more towards California, where I live now.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that too. We're gonna get to that as well. So you eventually, as you mentioned, relocated. Relocate. You got me giggling, child.
Ah,
But you have eventually relocated from Mississippi to Los Angeles. Did you have a game plan as you began this new chapter in your life?
I did. So I commuted back and forth a couple of times. And I wanted to scope things out before I came here because people will say LA is one of those cities that if you are not prepared, it will get you stuck here. If you are literally not prepared, like have your stuff mapped out or whatever, Los Angeles is like that city of broken dreams. And so you'll be surprised. Like some people make it and some people don't. So I highly encourage like map out a plan. But basically, I would come visit friends and then I would just kind of scope out like what area I wanted to live in, where I wanted to work, all of the things or whatever. And so I did some interviews when I came here. Others I did on Zoom or whatever. And, it was just, yeah, like that was just, it's been an experience. I've been here in LA for 7 years now. And it's definitely taught me a lot. I don't know how much longer I'll be in LA because my heart is feeling somewhere else within the next 2 to 3 years. And so, we'll just see what happens. But LA has definitely taught me a lot. I love it here. I've grown a lot here. I've experienced so much in my life, so much resonance, and so it's very fulfilling, and I just want more.
It is, and I could tell you love LA.
Thank
But what
you.
surprised me was you just said that you're kind of feeling that shift to the point where you want to have a change of scenery, and
Hmm.
it's kind of interesting you said that because I'm experiencing that exact same thing. Um,
Ah,
I've been in
something's in the
Chicago.
air.
Yes, exactly. I've been in Chicago for over 10 years, but
Oh wow.
I think for me, it's because of what I have accomplished here, but also the shifts in my support system here, which is what led to me acknowledging that for me, I'm ready for a change of scenery. I know where I would love to live now, as far as a
Mhm.
new city. And I know what I would want to be doing with my time and with my academic path that I've been taking. So for you, have you considered what city you would love to move to?
I'm thinking Atlanta.
The
And
South.
it's so funny. So funny. One of my transfers is like, "Girl, you just left the South. You left the
You
South." And I'm like,
just
"I
left the.
know." I just feel like
They're right. You just left the South. Not to
I know,
mention,
I know. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see though, because New York is something. Like New York, I've always felt like was a city that was just too fast for me. But I do like visiting New York, and I definitely want to visit New York soon, just to kind of
if,
like
well, think of
get
it like
away.
this, Blossom. If you move to New York, we can hang out every day. Because
I'm here for that though. I'm
that's
here
my,
for that. I don't know much about like the East
that's
Coast
my
like
plan.
that, but now let me stop playing. I do know something about it. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I definitely want to travel abroad a lot more. But right now we're in such chaos and worldly events. It's just kind
Apparently.
of like, oh man, like so happening and everything. But we'll see what happens, whatever the universe decides to do, and then just go on from there.
For sure. Yeah, you just got to be careful out here because this world is just, it's wild in its own way. But yeah, so I
Yeah,
mean, New
absolutely.
York, let me know so I can know to look out for you because that's what I
Absolutely.
consider. And we can hang out every day.
I
We're both
got
miss
you,
it.
love. I got you. I got you.
Now, don't get me wrong. We're both gonna miss that Bluebell ice cream, okay?
Oh, you know what? I'm not even a big fan of Bluebell. I like Baskin Robbins.
You don't like Bluebell?
No, maybe that's a California thing. We couldn't afford Bluebell like that
Bluebell's in the
as a
South,
kid.
like Mississippi, Tennessee, Texas.
What kind of I'm trying to think what kind of ice like we were like sherbet. Sherbet is really good. What else? I like what we would get is more generic and off-brand.
Right.
So, like, I can't even really think of a name brand, but Bluebell was not. Now, I do like their ice cream sandwiches, but
Have you ever had their cookies
uh-uh.
and cream ice cream?
Oh, I love cookies and cream, chocolate chip and cookies and cream. Sometimes cookie dough when I'm feeling like it. When cookies and cream is not like there, but yeah.
S. When will you answer questions? So thank you for
Oh,
joining us, S. So if you place a black heart in front of your question, you could ask the question anytime, just place a black heart in front of the question for Blossom.
yes.
Or if you have a question for me, you use that flag right there, that trans flag. And we'll be more happy to address it. So, but thank you for joining us and feel free to share this out.
The audience, I mean, oh Lord, here we go.
Here we
Here we
go.
go.
But it's okay. I'm here for it. So you created valuable Blossom, you gonna get me in trouble, okay? You gonna get me in a lot of trouble, girl. But in LA, you created valuable connections through
Yeah.
um, through mediums such as your appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show, as well as your
Yes.
friendship with Caitlyn Jenner. How did you and Caitlyn first meet?
Yeah. So basically, she had just did this interview with Diane Sawyer about coming out. That was on ABC. And literally that summer, I had gotten a scholarship to attend an all women's conference in Washington, D.C. And ironically, the Human Rights Campaign main's office, biggest headquarters, is in DC. And so, like, I was asked to meet with them, and I was asked if I was willing to have a conversation with Caitlyn Jenner. And so, myself, Angelica Ross, and so many other trans people, trans women in particular, flew to San Francisco to have the conversation with Caitlyn. And we had the conversation, and I talked about how I wanted to meet Ellen DeGeneres because she was a big inspiration to me, which was true because, like in the '90s, when she was on ABC and had her own show, that's when she came out. And so, that was just a real fulfilling moment because I was writing Ellen DeGeneres for 2 years every day straight. 2 years I was writing her show, like just trying to do something. Like if I could just get tickets, that's fine. And so, literally a month after we shot that episode, I found myself on Ellen. And ironically, that summer, it was weird because also what was happening was I had to go through summer school so I could graduate on time in the fall. And so literally I'm actually like in school, I'm traveling, like I was just doing a lot of things or whatnot. And so me and Kaylin, we met on that set and everything was great or whatever. But I actually haven't talked to her in a few years actually. Um, I've seen her once after at another nonprofit organization's event, holiday event, where she donated $10,000 to them.
Mhm.
But that was pretty much it.
And I
I
believe
still
you
have to
know
formulate.
exactly why, right?
Yeah, and I still have to formulate what what my thought process is around her because I'm a trans woman that has an experience of like, well, this woman helped me, but I don't acknowledge and believe in her rhetoric and harm that she's done to the trans community. Like I'll always be
I
grateful for
did.
that or whatever, but I was I will stand in my conviction like trans women deserve to play in sports, trans men deserve to play in sports
Right.
with men and with women, and I'm just that's just kind of like my stance. I just think it's humanity, and even in research purposes, like we got to get the data, so it's got to happen. They are going to have to transition socially and be able to play. So yeah, like we're not friends because I don't talk to her like that or whatever, but I'll always be grateful for that, for helping me in my life. I hate that it came with people getting hurt, people, you know what I mean? It was just like a whole thing with people, and I just hated that.
And it looks like it got to a point where you had to choose between your ideas and values versus a friendship with someone who did not see the value in your existence.
Yeah. Yeah, because she did at first, but I don't understand. Cause see, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I actually just don't know. And like I wish her the best. Like I have my own kind of like thing going on here, which is insane. So
Yeah, right.
yeah. How
Absolutely.
many viewers how many viewers are in the audience?
So looks like we only have about 3 so far, but there's going to be a lot more
Oh,
people watching the replay.
cool, 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 cool.
So, but yeah, do you think it may have been because she did not want to see the fact that you're a marginalized person, or did not want to acknowledge your humanity in a ways?
Who, Caitlin?
Yes.
No, I didn't have that problem with her. No, I just don't. I think she just switched because she unfollowed all of us on Twitter. And I think she just got back into that conservative radical rhetoric
Mhm.
and just kind of like did her thing. I think, in my humble opinion, I think Caitlyn Jenner is hurt by the trans community because we held her accountable and we did not let anything get past her. And I don't know, and I'm just speculating because I really don't know. And she may not just feel supported or whatever, but it's just you gotta kind of take what people are saying because it's true. Like you are privileged, you do have access, and you do be able to move around in a way that a lot of us can't.
Okay. What audience they are irrelevant. So, welcome to the show. However, we do move with respect in the space. So, everyone in here matters, especially our Black people. Okay.
Uh,
So it looks like
yeah, no, 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 it's
to,
okay, honey, because see, they followed me. So
we're gonna have to do some damage control, and
not just
especially
following me
removing
up in here,
anyone
girl.
and anything that causes any form of hatred. We
Not just following me up in
tolerate
here.
that. But we got some love coming up in here. Hey, keeping up with the Griffins. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you so much for
Hi,
being here.
love.
I think the Griffins might have taken care of that person. Thank you so
I
much.
like that. Keeping up with the Griffiths. I love that. That's
They're a
beautiful.
lovely family. So if you ever get a chance, check out their channel.
Okay, for sure.
But my follow-up question is, how was it to be interviewed on a very well-known talk show such as Ellen DeGeneres?
Yeah, it was so funny because the way it had to happen was Caitlin. If Caitlin would give an interview, we would be on, and so they didn't bring me out to like the very end or whatever. But I remember running down this long ass hallway to get to the front, and when I finally got when I finally got on stage or whatever, I was out of breath. It's funny because I think where the Jennifer Hudson show films, I think that's Ellen's old studio,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so it was just like because I remember that hallway and I haven't been to Jennifer Hudson's show. I should go. But yeah, it was amazing. It was life changing. It was in 2014. No, I'm sorry, 2015, because I moved out here in 2016. And it really changed my life. I'll forever be grateful for that moment because it was a true manifestation of what I had been desiring. And I'm just so grateful.
And I'm so grateful that you got a chance to appear on the show and really make a statement with your appearance. So as
Yeah.
asking, I know it's been one hell of a week for Blossom, but I'm wondering, now that some time has passed from when the debate was recorded, do you have any regrets?
Yeah. No, I don't have any regrets. It's so funny because this all started because Blair White wanted to debate me. I guess I'll share a little bit of the backstory. So, I was on an episode last year called Jubilee Trans Women versus Conservative Women.
And we're gonna get to that
Um,
too.
yeah, that was actually my first debate, and it was really good. And I always say the first one you're just kind of learning, you kind of getting your feet wet or whatnot. I felt like that was not my best. Or whatnot. I probably have to go back and look at the episode and be like, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so we debated conservative women. It was actually a really great conversation. We exchanged numbers, information. Like it was really nice. We were really able to meet or I don't even know if we really had middle ground, but we definitely got to meet and converse. Well, one of the girls, the Gemini, I always say, Amala, she was on a conservative podcast, Prageru or something or whatever, Prager or something. And she had asked me, she texted me, she was just like, Blossom, I'm gonna have a panel of trans women. Why don't you come along? And I was like, fine, if these are conservative trans women, that's fine. We can have the conversation. So I get there and it's actually Buck Angel. And so, me and Buck are debating, and I'm just like, well, we're not really a match because we have two different experiences. So I started throwing out the debate. I threw out the debate on purpose. I just was like, there's something about this platform that doesn't sit right with me. And it's not even Buck, because I can debate him any place, anytime. But I was just like, yeah, there needs to be a more balanced platform in order for us to really have conversations. And so what ended up happening was conservatives were saying to Blair, oh, you should debate Blossom because they probably thought I did a weak job with that debate with Buck. But of course, it's a conservative podcast. They're going to edit in his favor. Like I was expecting that. And so she started following me on Instagram for like a whole year. And I saw everything. I got receipts. And, some platform reached out to me and was just like, there's somebody that wants to debate you. Do you want to come on? And I'm like, oh my God, is it Blair White? And they were like, yeah, it's Blair. And so I was just like, okay, what are the topics? And so she didn't respond to him for like a whole week. And then when he came back to me, he gave like, it's almost like she didn't give topics, but she gave a response, which I thought was just weird. Like, why are you giving me talking points about how you feel about something? I just need to know the topics itself. And so I was just like, and something told me to look at the platform. And I looked and I said, well, my community is not going to come to this platform. They had some woman on there breaking her NDA about which celebrity she slept with. And I was just like, yeah, my community is not going to come to this. And so I was like, look, I appreciate you reaching out to me. Tell her I will debate her, but not on this platform. She can get in my DMs and we can discuss a more mutual platform. She never did. But about a month or so ago, I got a call from one of the Jubilee producers about the episode. And I was just like, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, Blair's going to be there. So I'm like, okay, fine. This will probably be the debate that we need to have.
Okay.
And at least with, oh, go ahead, go
Don't do
ahead.
too much right now because that goes into some of the questions I got about that.
Okay, I got you. Okay, got you. Yeah. And so, yeah. And so basically, when it premiered 4 days ago, it's gotten over 1 million views already. And when I tell you, so many people, so many trans and non-trans people have just tuned in. Whether you're whether you're a conservative or a liberal, you know what I mean? Like everybody like tuned in, and it was really, really beautiful to kind of see or whatever. It was very intense and very controversial. I will say that there was a lot happening. I think it's kind of best, and I probably need to tell them this, to put like a trigger warning or some kind of sensitive notice on it or whatever, because I didn't realize, like, playing, like, listening to it back, or watching it back, some topics were really sensitive. And I say that because I've seen some of the reaction videos, and some of the comments and messages that trans people have sent me, and I love that. Thank you so much for that. And so, yeah, like, this is where we are.
Absolutely. And we're going to dig right into that. But before
Yes,
we do,
because I know you studied everything. I know you looked and studied, so I'm ready for you.
Yes, I'm a very nosy person.
I
Anyone
love
on
that.
this
No, I
channel,
love that.
I'm a very nosy person. But before we get to the Jubilee, on October 10th, 2019, it's been 4 years now, you made a statement on CNN's Equality Town Hall by interrupting the debate with a message that does not get mentioned enough. In your statement, you shared that Black trans women are dying and that our lives matter. What prompted you to highlight a very important issue that is constantly overlooked by mainstream media?
Yeah, because Black trans women were being killed at alarming rates that year. And, here I am sitting in a room, like, at a presidential debate, and something just came over my soul. Like, when it hits different when it comes to the soul or whatnot. Oh my God, this person cannot spell. Oh, geez.
Unfortunately.
Um,
Griffins, if you're still in here, can you take care of this issue for me? Because
yes, honey.
this is something that we don't tolerate in the space. Because if I take care of it, I will embarrass you all over this red app, but I'd rather someone else take care of it peacefully.
Not to follow me up here. Not y'all got StreamYard and following me over here. Come on now. I'm here for
Oh
it.
no, we weren't talking about you. I think it was more so the other person.
The other person.
Yeah. But what
Yeah, that one right there.
Oh, that might have been
Oh
a
no.
typo.
Hey, no, it's okay. To that question, check out the podcast, honey. We did the podcast already. I've heard anything dealing with that person can be checked on the Transparency podcast, which has already been out on my on Apple TV. I'm sorry, on Apple and other podcast things, YouTube. So please check out that interview over there. I will not be discussing that over here, honey.
Yes, because it is all
Pull up
about
over there.
positive energies, but also keeping
Yes, honey.
talking about the real thing. But all in all, what prompted you to take
Oh wait. Let me reread that. Wait a minute. What about what you said about the body?
to Blair? What did you say about the bodyguards that can be?
Oh, I talked about that on my Instagram today. Go look at the Instagram love. Yeah, no, I just, that has nothing to do with me or whatever, because, like, I know what I said. I did not say that. Like, it was a, like, I don't, we're debating. It's not personal. I think, yeah, I think when people lose debates and when people don't have their own control, they make up lies or whatever. So it is what it is. So.
Yes, and thank you so much for taking care of that problem, Griffins. Thank you. But back to the other question.
Yeah.
What prompted you to take that particular stance on that particular forum?
Yeah, it was just a soulful feeling, and it was so crazy because after that, I gave the mic back to Lizette and her son Danny, who I love so much. And I went outside and I just started crying. And the president of HRC at the time comes over and just gives me a hug, and like some of the trans kids come, and it was just a lot. It was just like, and I felt so bad from having to disrupt and taking away from their moment to make an important message. And Lizette has been just so amazing ever since and whatnot. I love that family to death. And so, it was like, yeah, because we weren't participating. You know what I mean? We were in the thing, and then again, we weren't. And so it's just like, it is what it is. But yeah, that was it's something about me, and I don't know, I'm separate just listening and thinking about it or whatever. It's something about me in debates that really I don't know. It's something about me in debates, because that happened around this time 4 years ago. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 years ago. That's right, because we're in 2023. Around this time 4 years ago, it was the same thing.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about is the town hall.
Yeah, that's why I was just super thinking about like the dates or whatever, and I'm like, oh wow, it's been 4 years. It don't even seem like
Yeah,
it.
happy anniversary.
Whoop whoop.
But so looking back at that moment, what would you want to see mainstream media either do differently or just do it all, or in some cases not do it all as it pertains to our community?
I just think being inclusive is really, really important and intentional. Making sure that the right voices and the right representation is at the table. Because I think the world needs to hear our issues, our own individual issues, what we face and what we go through. And so that's why like this debate was so important too. Just being able to do that. Now I understand that you can't get everybody, that sometimes it's going to be impossible, but I think seeing people make strides and learning along the way, because they're not going to get it right the first time around, I think is truly a powerful moment and a blessing, because I think like it shows that you want to do the work, and ultimately we want to see you do the work. So I think that's kind of what it shows. Yeah.
Beautiful. And I'm so grateful that you took that particular stance. And it was
Thank
so amazing to see you
you.
up there. I said, "Oh my gosh, I know her." Yeah, I was so ecstatic to see you up there. I kept thinking to myself, I wish I could be invited to things like that.
You will, don't worry, you will.
Especially with a beautiful friend such as you in my life.
Thank you. I'm so humble. Thank you.
You are so welcome. You also created a new opportunity as a tarot reader and a content creator. How did you first get it into this particular career path?
Yeah, so my mom was a tarot reader. She was actually a tarot reader, so she passed that gift down to me. And it was really during 2020, during the Black Lives Matter protests, when stuff was just happening. It was just so insane. And so I started really getting more into tarot and astrology, especially tarot, during that time, and using tarot with activism, and just kind of figure out like what everything is happening, and what's going on. And it's been really, really fulfilling, because I love making tarot content. I love being a content creator. I love making spiritual wisdom content, as well as like my activism and life coaching and stuff, because it gives us free will to be able to take in healing and understanding for our own well-being. Now, all messages may not resonate with you, but that's okay. But it's about tapping into your higher self, understanding your higher consciousness, and trusting your higher consciousness. Because I feel like sometimes we are a little disconnected when we're disconnected from ourselves. And that's normal. That is a human experience. And so how do we get back into alignment? You know what I mean? And just being able to figure that out with ourselves, and just understanding and getting to know and grow on who we are, is truly, truly remarkable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I really enjoy your work as a content creator and a tarot reader, especially
Thank
the tarot reader.
you.
Like,
More is coming. I just got to rest. After this debate, they're going to probably come back next week, because, like, this debate, oh my God.
we're gonna get into that debate in a minute.
I'm
We're
so
gonna get
exhausted.
into
Today is
it.
what, Thursday? And that thing premiered what, Sunday?
Yes, Sunday, and I sat there Sunday night and watched it from beginning to. Now I couldn't do the one on Patreon because I didn't want to pay to watch.
Well, you know what though? I like that version better, because I felt like that version showed a little bit more of what was said or whatever. Like the clips that I posted on Instagram, I actually got that from the Patreon version. So it was really good though. But I mean, it's not too far off, but I do say a little bit more things in there.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
so
I would love to
there's
see it, but
and there's a story behind that anyway. So
and we're gonna get into that story too. So in 2021, you earned your certification as a life coach. What inspired you to
yes.
pursue a new avenue to help others? And well, yeah, what inspired you to pursue this new avenue?
It's so funny, because life coaching was the last thing on my manifestation board. And it was literally the last thing to complete, because I think it's in my documentary, One Life to Blossom. And it was so funny,
Yeah,
because during the Black Lives Matter protest, I started working with a spiritual healer who's like my spiritual mentor. And so in 2021, she was like, Blossom, there's this program that is offering Black people to come in or whatever. She's wanting to do something for Black people for this Black Lives Matter um protest and stuff or whatever. And so like, do you want to come along? If you don't, I'm gonna have to give it to somebody else. And so I was like, yeah, let's go. And so basically you had to have a mentor to work with in order to get the lessons and get everything that's supposed to be done. Now, the first mentor that they gave me, her schedule and my schedule did not work because I worked during the day and I needed somebody at night. And so, ironically, the mentor I got was a Black cis woman, and she's just so happened to be a master coach of her own life coach institution, literally. And so it was so funny because it's like, oh my God, I wanted to be a life coach. And so what ended up happening was after the session, after I finished Susie Batista's program or whatever, that's when I really started getting interested in life coaching. And I went to her and I was like, okay, it's time for me to be a life coach. And so I spent one weekend doing the certification because it's only like a 2-day process. And then after that, I became a life coach. But it was so crazy because on the same day that I became a life coach, one of my first cousins, trigger warning, was murdered. Literally, as I was getting ready to get my little life coach certification, they were just calling me about my cousin.
Right.
And so, becoming a life coach, I always think about him in the back of my head, which is coming up next month because I got it in November of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, because it was like November 15th, 2021, actually. And, that moment really changed my life because as I gained something, I lost an important person in our family. And, it was just, this work is really fulfilling because I've been a life coach, I've done group tarot messages and sessions with trans and non-binary people. Like, I'm doing a lot of spiritual healing work, and I'm just so grateful that I get to do these things because it's my passion, it's my gift, and I want to help the world and I want to help humanity. And if doing tarot, astrology, spiritual wisdom, anything of that nature is helping me get there, then let it be. I'm so ready for that. I'm so grateful for the people that support me, the people that love me and that grow with me and nurture me. It's been really fulfilling.
And I
Thank
love
you.
everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And once you became a life coach, you added coach to your title. I loved it.
Immediately after. Yes, I did.
And rightfully so. Now, here we go. On the Jubilee conversation middle ground,
All
having
right.
trans liberals and trans conservatives on one panel, emphasizing during the heated topic of supporting the transgender military ban when you stated to the conservative panelists to not interrupt a Black trans woman when she is speaking. Was holding space challenging due to the blatant disregard for decorum from Blair and the conservative trans people on the panel?
Yes. That was, so to be clear, as I said before, that was one of the most intense, controversial conversations ever. To be quite honest with you. And keeping in mind, as many people saw, I was the only Black person there. And so I felt like I was holding it down for Black people, for Black trans women, and pretty much all Black people. And the thing is, for me, when you're like the only race on a particular panel, you become the priority voice where people really need to be listening to what you're saying because you are the priority. It's priority over privilege. And so a lot of conservatives and a lot of there's some liberals too, didn't really understand that from me. And they just thought, oh, Blossom's not listening to other people and all the things. Da, 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 da. I went back and I looked at all of this like, yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. I think people are not used to debates. And all I was really asking, during that was I'm trying to remember, just thinking like what was going on. I mean, yeah, I had to take up that space. I had to, and I'm actually really glad I did.
You needed to because there was not a lot of space for you to begin with.
That's
And
right.
especially since pretty much everyone else on the panel, if I'm not mistaken, were all white passing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's might as well say that. Yeah. That's correct.
Absolutely. And I noticed that when you said that, even though it was to the conservative side, you were kind of peering at Andrew. I was like, uh I was getting
You
scared
know
for
what, Andrew? You wanna know what's so crazy? I liked Andrew the most out of all of them.
Andrew. I do too. Hmm.
I liked him the most, and I saw he made a reaction video, and I'm disappointed or whatever. But I also just think too, listening to outside influence is a thing. I definitely empathize with him having HIV, being born with it, and having drug addict parents. Let me tell you something. Another important conversation kind of came out of that because when I was talking about privilege, and that was his rebuttal to me, it did have a lot of black and brown trans men come to me. And I had already knew this answer about how he has more privilege when it comes to access to treatment for HIV care than black and brown trans men. I knew that talking point, but see, we didn't get into that because it wasn't about that. But I can appreciate my black and brown trans brothers that have come over to me over the last week and talked about that. And I think it's a perfect opportunity for Jubilee to highlight that. Maybe create an episode called Liberal Trans Men versus Conservative Trans Men. You know what I mean?
Now
So they
that
can
would be
debate.
nice.
I would watch that and maybe have Buck Angel on there or whatever. You know what I mean? Like having these structured conversations and you know what I mean, and not typecast, have representation from each community there. And so like I really, because I was looking at some of the comments, because there was definitely some things that the conservatives were saying, okay, we can have middle ground there, but I just was like I really had empathy and compassion for him. Like I don't have beef with him. He was actually my favorite out of them.
Yeah,
And yeah, he was my favorite.
absolutely. For sure. Now, during the promotion for the then upcoming Middle Ground panel, you stated on your social media that you have been harassed and bullied by some conservative followers, allegedly followers of fellow panelist Blair, as well as Blair herself, allegedly. What message
Yes.
would you give to those who harassed and bullied you on the internet?
um Nice try, didn't work. You did not break me. Harassing and bullying gets you nowhere. We are allowed to have different views, different political viewpoints. I also understand that too because I feel like, my behavior could have been better as far as like this week in IG stories
I
because
thought you were pretty patient.
yeah, but when it comes to trans youth though, I forgot they will be watching. And here's the thing. They were like, some people were gaslighting me, some people weren't. But I knew I should not have entertained conservatives the way I should have. Because at one point, their rhetoric is so gaslighting that I forgot about the people who do support me. And they were there. And I'm so thankful for supporters. And it was like it was like a war zone, but I thought the war zone was kind of funny because it's like, girl, you're sending all these people over to me and it's making my little fan base grow or whatnot. And so it's just like I hate the fact that she actually lied. This person actually lied because this person, she's white passing and I'm a black person. And when you have racists and bigots and all the things that follow you or whatever, they're gonna try to want to harm the black person. So it's like we have to be careful what we say. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say.
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from as far as the youth watching. Unfortunately, the youth will one day also have to learn that even when you put your
Correct.
best foot forward,
Yep.
sometimes it's not going to be received well when you are in the adult role. And so, as a result, yes, you can walk away, but then if you have
Yes.
to defend yourself, you sometimes actually have to defend yourself.
Yeah.
So it's really a matter of of a sense of discernment. I
Yeah.
hate that certain communities are unable to disagree without causing um, harm to others, to those who have a different point of view from oneself. I mean, if I know I disagree on everything that Blair said, but
Yeah.
you don't see me bullying her on social media. So
No.
why can't the same happen when it comes with Blair and you? Because I mean, of course, you may see
Yeah.
things differently, and that's perfectly fine.
I
But
think. Yeah. No. 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 I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, what I was going to say was, why is it that despite seeing things differently, we cannot seem to let that be and let it stand where it is?
I think sometimes some people are not secure with themselves, that they feel like they have to put other people down to lift themselves up. You know, I also have to learn to leave things at the table, like The View. You know what I mean? I watch The View every day. I love Sunny Hostin. Sunny Hostin is actually
I
my birthday
love the
twin.
view.
Yeah, Sunny Hostin is my birthday twin. Both of our birthdays are October 20th. And
Really?
yes,
Happy
and the
early
thing
birthday.
is, yes, and thank you. And then the thing is, it's like I get into that competitive thing that I got to work through. And so, but I wasn't going over on her page. Well, no, let me not say that. Because I did go over to her page, but I didn't think I realized it was her page as I was like commenting or whatever. Because they were just tagging me in so much stuff between the Jubilee Instagram, her Instagram. I don't follow her, but again, she follows me. And so like if I was commenting, because I think I was commenting on some things on her page or whatever, I just didn't know it. Because they were just tagging me left and right or whatever, because she had actually lied and said that I threatened her with violence. And that was the reason why they were coming over there. And it's like it didn't happen. Then she lied and said that they edited the video in a certain way. That didn't happen. She's actually been editing her own video. She took a I said something about, I know you have your bodyguards outside, because I said keep it cute, because you know what I'm saying, this girl was just talking noise or whatever, but she took that and tried to weaponize it against me. And it's like, girl, do you not see what you're doing? The safety of a Black trans woman, just say you don't, she doesn't care. And so it's just kind of like, she has been a menace to our community. And
And
some of those videos that she's done reaction videos to were my friends. And it's just kind of like, if you want to be the controversial girl, that's fine, but you don't have to do it in that particular way. So, but I've nothing her. I'm not gonna like discuss her. Because I don't think she's worth the discussion. But I definitely wanted to offer some context to what happened in that, you know what I mean? Because I didn't realize it was going to be so historic and that people across the world were going to tune in.
oh yeah,
um
you are very loved, and then this topic is so important because it's not too often where we have trans liberals and trans conservatives in one space having the
True.
tough conversations and discussing the tough topics.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy that politics brings us together, which is really interesting. And when I say politics, politics of us debating each other, it's like that's a hit. 1 million people in 4 days have tuned in. 4 days. Imagine what the next 4 days are going to look like. Like a
Probably
lot of
3 million.
people. Yeah, it's just incredible. And Jubilee is a very powerful platform to begin with.
Oh,
Very powerful platform. So that's why it's just kind of like, okay. So
it surely is a very powerful platform, especially after this episode. Um,
yeah.
but what was disturbing about this particular middle ground panel was that out of 8 trans people present, you were the only Black trans person on the panel, with 7 white passing trans people. Did you feel a more heightened responsibility to protect your lived experiences as a Black woman and as a Black trans woman?
That is a very good question. Thank you for asking that. You know, I'm used to being the only Black person in a lot of white spaces, so that wasn't anything new for me. But I also knew that I would be the representation of a lot of people, not just Black trans women, Black people in general. And so, I knew I had a delicate responsibility, and I'm so proud of myself because when I look back at the video, I did so good. There were a
You
lot of
did
mic drop
excellent.
moments.
You were excellent, and
I ate that debate, honey. I was like, I ate that debate because one of my trans sisters was telling me this morning, Blossom, you ate that debate. You ate it with no indigestion. But
no
you know what?
indication at all.
But you know what though? I studied hard for that. I studied my community. I listened to my community. I looked at other trans influencers' content. Like I did the work. I genuinely did the work, and I love debating. Debating is that one thing I wish I would have done in high school because I thought about joining the debate team in high school, but I didn't. Too scared to. But
And you still
now,
can.
I mean, that's true. I could join somebody's debate team, but I do have a knack for politics, and I feel like I'm gonna end up in politics. Well, I'm already technically in politics anyway, but I just think that for me, being able to study the issues that a lot of us face is truly impactful. I looked at a reaction video yesterday from a trans man in the Netherlands because they have been tagging me in videos, but for some reason, something told me to look at his because I know he had tagged me about 2 or 3 days in a row. And they divided the debate by chapters. And so what they did, what trans influencers are doing is they're reacting per chapter, which I think is a lot better and a lot, whatever. And so, there were talking points that I had made that he gave me a other side perspective of. And it made me think, because one of them was about should minors get top surgery? And I could tell it was a really passionate topic for him, and he shared a little bit of his experience. And when I was saying something about, I think in my talking point, because I'm not a trans man, that was a very slippery slope for me anyway. But I tried to stay surface level as possible. I was just like, as long as you're able to get your permission from parents or whatnot. And he kindly reminded me that not every trans kid feels safe coming to their parents, and that's very, very true. And I
Yeah.
forgot about that talking point. And I thank him, and I'm going to thank him publicly for that tomorrow. And like I love that type of feedback. I love that type of like, people want to portray me as this monster and angry, da da da. I know I'm none of those things, but I also am not going to take the time to prove those things to you because I don't have to prove those things. The people that love me and support me already know my heart space. And so what I want to do is I want to make a reaction like post to that or whatnot because it gives me a different perspective because culturally I didn't think about that. In different cultures in different countries, it's a different process, and trans activists in different countries move a different way. And so I'm so glad that he reminded me of that. And, like that's what I want. I wanted this debate to bring us healing, bring us conversation, being able to have these conversations with each other and being able to grow and learn from that. Because I know for me, I'm a person that will be learning for sure.
Mm-hmm. And you definitely are learning, and we are all learning every day, for sure. And I'm so glad that you took it in stride to protect that particular lived experience that you have as a Black woman, as well as a Black trans woman, because I
Yes.
know I tend to be in spaces where I'm the only Black person or the Black trans person or Indigenous person, and
Yes.
and definitely the only two-spirit person. And each of those times, I don't think too much of it because I'm so accustomed to being in so many spaces all in one day. It
Correct.
happens.
Yeah,
Like I'm in this
absolutely.
space right now, and it's not a lot of Black people around here on campus, but
Yeah.
um, I'm just glad to know it wasn't just me. Um,
Absolutely.
so my follow-up question was, if so, do you believe that the same responsibility was present at your previous middle ground panel?
Oh, there were two different ones. Oh, that was a very good question. I feel like when it comes to directing, it was better the first time around than the second time. There was a lot of drama on set, to be quite honest with you. She had actually called me ugly.
I
Um,
know that Blair called you, and then what was the name of the other person who was non-binary?
Alexander.
Alexander. My heart goes out to Alexander. I'm sorry, but the way that
Alexander is
Blair
so
treated
amazing and so
them
sweet.
was just
They're so
unacceptable,
amazing and so sweet.
abominable behavior.
Yeah, yeah. But come to find out, because I don't know if you checked out the podcast yet, but you should check it out
You might need to
real
send me the
soon,
link
though. But
on IG so I could check it out tomorrow.
yeah, I would definitely do that. Because see, Alexander actually talked about the history that they've had, because they've actually had history, which I didn't know at first until that day. And so, it's gonna be. I would really say check out that interview. I did talk about the racist video that white women were tagging me in with Blair. So we talked about that and just yeah, and it is what it is. So yeah.
Yeah, it's right.
Uh,
Yeah, it's right. I'm definitely gonna check that out, but send me the link to that later on when you get a chance.
yeah, for sure, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, do you believe? And I'm gonna switch gears. So, do you believe that legislation will ever be put in place to protect trans people the same way that there's legislation put in place to protect Asian people in the United States?
I believe so. I think it just takes us longer, and I hate that. That really shows how anti-blackness, how other isms really take precedence. And I love the Asian community so much. I have so many Asian friends. They're definitely supporters of like my work or whatnot. But it's more of a political thing. It's like black people in general. I feel like I always get the crumbs, and that's not okay. You know what I mean? We have to do better. I don't know what that's going to look like. I think it's going to take collectively us intentionally coming together and coming up with strategies to be able to navigate how we can do that. So, on a political spectrum, it's like I'm sure things are shifting, but they're not shifting fast enough nor soon enough. So, you know, it's just one of those things where we just got to hope for the best.
Hmm. For sure. So I got a follow up to that.
Okay.
So same question, but instead of trans people, but black people.
Mm. It's so funny because I was thinking about my last response was thinking about black people. So let me think about black trans people. Um, I don't know.
Because they passed legislation for Asian people, and rightfully so,
Yeah,
but then nothing was passed for black people as a whole or
yeah,
for
that's what
trans.
I'm saying. I don't know. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know. I just don't know. I think that's just probably where I need to leave it because there's just so many isms, and so many things put into place structurally. That's just, yeah. People are just not fair. Things are just not fair, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they will ever be fair. And I don't even think it's about being fair. It's about maintaining their privilege because they don't want to feel in their mind inferior or in their heart inferior when the
Yep,
inferiority comes from within their own selves and it's not inflicted to them by someone else gaining, you know, an advantage in any kind of way. It's just more so about letting everyone thrive and live. But
exactly.
it seems like it's too much like right. But final question. What
Okay.
can we look forward to seeing from Coach Blossom C. Brown in 2024, whether it be content creating, whether it be tarot reading?
Listen, building my dynasty. I don't want to say too much right now, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be expansive. It's going to be magnificent. Um, I have some ideas. We'll see what happens, but just stay tuned. Follow me, social media, Tell All Blossom, Coach Blossom C. Brown, and beast because I'm gonna lay it all out.
And can you also tell everyone where they can catch the documentary One Life to Blossom because it is such an amazing documentary?
Thank you. You can check it out on Tubi, Firefox, Vimeo, Apple TV, Amazon. Like there's a lot of places you can check it out on. Philo, I think is one. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again because now you made me want to watch it.
I love that.
But Coach Blossom C. Brown, thank you so much for being on this platform, especially right before your birthday. I know. Do you have any plans for your
Thank
birthday?
you.
Do you have any plans for your birthday?
Not yet. Trying to figure them out. We'll see.
All right. And if you need any help on the next middle ground invitation, like if you need someone else on the same panel, let me know. I'd
Yes.
love to be on there
I will
too.
definitely let you know for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Stay on for a minute or two. And thank you all for watching. We're going to wrap this up. We're going on a hiatus after tonight's episode. So keep it locked here on my channel and keep watching Chasing Liberation, which is my docuseries. So we'll see you all very soon. So enjoy, be good to yourselves, and be good to each other.